It's the May 5th, 2008 Roundtable on DawgPost.com. Josh, Kendall, Dean Legge, and Quentin Grant. We're going to discuss a couple of different topics like we do every single week. We'll straight go into it. Quentin, can Georgia go undefeated? And I'll just start one word answer, yes or no. Can they go undefeated?
No.
Josh?
No.
All right, let's get into the schedule. Georgia, Southern, and Central Michigan, I think most people pencil those in as W's. And then, y'all, they go to Carolina and Arizona State. Josh, where are you with those games?
Oh, I think those are both winnable games. I think they'll come out of that stretch undefeated. I don't think either one of those are world beaters.
Quentin?
Win them both. I don't think they'll have any problems at Columbia this year. I think Arizona State may be a bigger problem than Columbia.
And then a tricky pair here, even though there's a week off in between. Let's talk about these three games. Bama, and then they're off, Tennessee, and Vandy. Josh, the Alabama game's sticking out to me. They always seem to get upset at home. If something happens wrong, it's at home.
Yeah, that absolutely is a tricky game. I think Tennessee's down. I still think they can come out of that stretch. Those are not the games that worry me. I think that they'll beat Alabama. I think that they'll beat Tennessee. I think they come out of there still unbeaten.
All right, Quentin.
I say they beat Alabama, but I agree with you. I think it'll be really close. I would watch that Tennessee game with those three. That's the one I would say you might want to keep an eye on.
All right, Quentin. They got to go to Death Valley and then Florida, back to back. That is not a lot of fun, and I think I know where the losses are coming from in y'all's world. So go ahead, Quentin. Where are you at?
Yeah, I think they'll beat Florida. I think it's that game in LSU that's going to be. Not to say they can't win. They've been historically great on the road, but I don't see them winning both of those. So pick one. Right. I don't think you can really go wrong.
Josh,
I'm in the exact same spot. I say it's a toss-up. Pick them, and if you make me pick, actually I don't think it's quite a toss-up. I think that LSU game is more dangerous for them. I think that they might have a little swagger finally against Florida and might have a better chance of winning that one than winning that LSU game. But they're gonna. I mean, I just don't see them winning both of them.
One of those two games is more important than the other, and the Florida game is more important for
Absolutely.
sure. Okay, at Kentucky, Josh, at Auburn, and then Tech. It's not easy to win in Commonwealth. I think that's been proven, even though they've done well in past. The last time they were there, they lost. And then Auburn, gosh, it is tough to win there. That is a scary stadium.
I think absolutely you could have another loss there. I don't think Kentucky's going to be down. I know that Georgia always plays like dogs, pardon the fun there, but I think that's when we have. I think that the Auburn game might be the difference between a one-loss and a two-loss season for this team, which could be a very important distinction.
Yeah, you're right, Quentin. What do you think? And are you just penciling in a Tech win, Josh?
Yes,
I am.
Go ahead, Quentin.
Yeah, I'll pencil in Tech. Don't be surprised if they struggle at Kentucky, but I don't see them struggling against the likes of the Vanderbilts and Kentuckys the way they did this year. But that game with Auburn is always you don't know what's going to happen. It's crazy. Usually the reverse, what you think is going to happen happens. So yeah, you've got better watch out that Auburn game. And I would say if Georgia's lucky enough to be undefeated going into this game, that they'll lose. They'll lose against Auburn.
At Auburn. Neither of you guys see Georgia Tech as a potential trip up?
No.
Even with the new staff and maybe a new...
No. You own them. Georgia owns them.
Josh?
Oh, I think so, too. I think Paul Johnson will inject some life into that program about the last game of the season. They'll kind of be what they are, and they're not good enough to beat Georgia.
Well, let's talk about kind of a difficult subject, I guess, to pinpoint. Quentin and Josh and I, who is the best assistant coach on this staff? And if they're listening right now, we all say hello. But Josh, who do you think it is? Give me your argument.
If they're all listening right now, then it's all of them. I couldn't possibly choose between them. But
you will have to.
If I'm going to have to choose between them, I'll say John Fabris. I think that he gets a lot of grief, at least among the media corps internally, because of his idiosyncrasies. But he clearly, to me, from the outside looking in, is the guy who works the hardest of the bunch and is the most detail-oriented of the bunch. On the practice field, he is very colorful, very intense. But the guys who play defensive end for him, almost to a man, I think there's probably been some very notable exceptions, but almost to a man, really, really like like him and come out of there feeling like he would have really went to battle for them. A kid like Marcus Howard, who really felt like everybody else on the Bulldog staff, particularly Brian Van Gorder at the time, had given up on him being a player. Felt like John Fabris said, you come to me, and I'll do everything I can if you'll commit to make you a good player. And he probably made him some money in the NFL. Between what he does with those defensive ends and that track record that he has there, and how much he really coordinates and pushes that whole special teams unit, I think for me he's the best guy.
It'd be tough to top Fabris, Quentin.
Yeah, I'll take Coach Martinez.
Why?
Another guy that's caught a lot of grief that I think does a great job. I think he does an excellent job coaching that secondary. I just like watching the guy coach. I think he's just on point on the field. I think he gets it done. I think he's taken a lot of unfair heat at Georgia. That's a whole other conversation that we've already had. But at the same time, it's kind of like Josh said earlier, and we were saying before we ever started this whole deal, I mean, they're all good quality coaches. You can't really go wrong with just one guy.
It would be hard for me not to take Fabris because of, a lot of times you sit there and look at what he's got. David Pollock was going to be a star no matter what. I don't know if Quentin Moses was. I don't know if Marcus Howard was. Everybody needs to watch for Nealon Ball. He has already been molded into what looks like a guy who could be a player. Am I right on that one, Josh?
He certainly looks like he could be fearsome coming off the edge.
So, Fab gets it done sometimes with other people's, I don't want to call it junk, but other people's, stuff. He's very good. I don't think you can overlook what Stacey Searles did. I know he won't talk to us, but that's fine. And then, I think Bobo's got to be given some credit too, just for the ascent he's made, the play calling he's made, and going from what he was in 2001 to what he is now. I think a guy who is going to be a big-time head coaching commodity sooner probably rather than later, but that's another discussion for another day as well. Josh, maybe you're the best person to ask this, but Sean Bailey was a big deal at the end of this past year and kind of was consistent, it seemed like, for Georgia and made them a pretty big deal. Who is going to replace Sean Bailey in terms of whether it be down the field, or scaring other teams, or even just production? I think I know the answer to down the field, but give me what you got there.
I'll tell you, if you know the answer, you tell me, because I'm
Muhammad, but
I'm almost washing my hands of trying to pick these receivers. For the last 4 years, I championed A.J. Bryant.
Well, you just missed that.
Everyone was what a year was going to be his breakout year, partially because I liked A.J. so much, and partially because he just looked like such a
star,
wide receiver person. I mean, when I look at this group of guys right now, the guy who looks it to me is Kenneth Harris.
He looks it.
Right. Then you look at a guy like Michael Moore, who's shown flashes.
But can Michael Moore go downfield?
Well, he did against Prince Miller, who's a decent cornerback. I mean, you don't have to be a track star to go downfield. If you'll go down there, if you'll get down there and make a play and catch the ball, then you're a downfield receiver. Or most of his nice catches have been in spring, and they don't keep score really in the spring. Chris Durham is he's a big, tall guy who, if you throw the ball up, he'll catch it. And Muhammad, for all of, maybe he doesn't get enough credit for being a deep ball threat because he caught two pretty long deep passes last year.
Against Florida and Auburn.
I really can't answer this question. I think that one of them will, or a combination of them will, just fine, but I couldn't tell you who it's going to be.
I mean, and maybe it's A.J. Green, maybe, I don't know, maybe it's Tavares, although it doesn't seem to me like Tavares has burner speed. Did Sean? Josh?
What's that?
Did he have burner speed?
No, I don't think Georgia's had any. I mean, I can't remember the last guy. D'Amico probably is their.
Well, D'Amico, I don't think D'Amico's an every down single, play guy, but boy, he makes plays when he's in there.
He does make a few. I mean, there's so many. There's so many choices. That's why I just, I'm gonna let them sort it out. I'm done trying to pick that.
All right. Well, just like Josh has done, we're done too, and we'll catch you next week on the Roundtable. Thanks.